The reason I bring up sleep is because I think it's the one habit that incredibly impacts every other habit. When you get a good night's sleep, you're less likely to eat foods that are bad for you. You're more likely to have the energy to work out. You're going to feel more motivated and focused at work. It's the domino effect. And what I've learned about sleep is that a lot of us are not trying to build up our sleep like we build up other parts of our life.
It's a new year, and this year, instead of creating exhaustive lists to build a new you, what if you made one small change with big impact? In this special My Legacy episode, hosts Martin Luther King III, Arndrea Waters King, Marc Kielburger, and Craig Kielburger dive into some of the best small but powerful habits that create big results. You'll hear from Shetty and Radhi on how resetting your taste buds can transform your health, Gabby Bernstein on what manifesting really looks like, Sterling K. Brown on shifting your mindset to transform any challenge, and kicking things off, Dave Asprey drops 3 free or low-cost life hacks for more energy and better sleep.
There was a lot of skepticism when biohacking came as an idea.
That was great.
Well, can I ask what gave you the drive to push through that skepticism to bring it to mainstream?
Well, I was pretty sick when I was young. I had Asperger's syndrome. It's a form of autism. A lot of weird behavioral issues. Fat, had arthritis since I was 14. And when I reversed all that with what is now biohacking, my goal was I want 5 people to read my blog. And if they don't go through the hell I went through, I have done my act of service. I thought about making it a nonprofit. I didn't collect a list. I didn't do anything. I made $250,000 a year. I had stock options at a publicly traded computer security company because I'm a computer hacker. I was a pretty good one back then. So it was that I don't want people to go through what I went through. And then after I recovered, I'm like, I'm not going to stop. And I realized you can make your brain work better than you ever imagined, and you can reverse your age, and I'm 6% body fat, and I was really obese with a 46-inch waist, and I feel so good. And when my brain works, I'm nice to other people. And you give me MSG and the wrong foods, and I feel like I'm doing exercise with my middle finger muscles. Like I'm a jerk. Right, so being hypoglycemic was a problem for me. And so I'm like, I just want to teach people, and I write all my stuff. If I was 19 or 20 and I just would have known this, it would have saved me $1 million to recover. And the other $1.5 million was for longevity. I'm happy with that. But the suffering, all the times I was just a jerk to people, it was not because I was a bad person. It was because my hardware wasn't working right.
One of the things, though, that I often think about is that there's a certain privilege, if you will, to longevity or health. What advice would you give a single parent with 4 children that she wants to be as healthy as she can be and she wants her children healthy, but we all know it's much more expensive to eat at, I'm not going to say the name of places, versus getting a value meal at X place. So what are things that she can incorporate for the health of herself and her children?
The good news is that the most powerful biohacks are free. And in biohacking, the definition, and I thought really hard about this, it's the art and science of changing the environment around you and inside you so you have control. So first, what are the goals if you're a mom with 4 kids? I have 2 kids, and I know the goal is always, I just want to have enough energy, right? And I got to make sure I put food on the table and all these things. So you look at it from that lens, and whether you gain or lose 10 pounds probably isn't your biggest goal. Of course, we all want to lose the weight, but that's not most important. It's like, can I show up right now the way my family needs me? So what are the affordable or free things? One of them is sunlight. Go outside without glasses on for 20 minutes in the morning, and it actually charges your mitochondria, and it sets you up to get better sleep at night. Number 2, turn off the lights at night, get some dimmer switches. So sunlight in the morning and darkness in the evening, and eating dinner a little bit earlier, even if it's not the best dinner. And then you look at, okay, what are the food choices I can make for the same amount of money that are better choices? And as an example, if you learn how to cook, it doesn't have to be fancy French cooking. White rice is really cheap, and it's better for you than French fries. Butter. is not more expensive than many other foods on a per calorie basis. It's cheaper than vegetables. So now you're getting good fats instead of some canola oil. And so you didn't spend any more money, but you're more nourished, and your kids are not having these blood sugar swings that makes them into little monsters, right? And they say, how do I get more protein? And I used to say eggs, but man, they've gotten expensive lately. And if you go to a place like a Costco where you get a big old hunk of meat, it still can be $2 a pound. And you say, but that's a lot of work to cook it. It's not. Boil some water, throw the rice in there, chop up the meat, throw the meat in there, and add some spices. It's called soup, and it's highly nutritious, and you can do that for less than you'll spend at Mickey D's. I did not have the privilege of health as a kid. I was antibiotics every month for 15 years. I was pretty sick. And so when I regained my health, I'm like, this is powerful. And the whole idea of biohacking, we change our environment so we become healthier. It's not about going out and spending a bunch of money. It's about just, no one gave us the manual for the body. And if you just know what to do, you can have leverage. And one thing I've done a couple of shows on this, I've mentioned on shows, that it just makes me angry. So vitamin D is a longevity supplement. It's $5 a month. It's a very, very cheap drug.
And very critical, particularly for Black children.
Well, there you go.
We're more deficient traditionally.
Not just for Black children, for Black parents.
Yeah.
These good parents, they take their kids to the hospital because they're crying. And then the hospital says, well, there's 5 broken bones. Which of you beat the child? And then because, well, this is our child. We love our child. We didn't beat him. And they say, well, we're gonna take the child to CPS unless one of you confesses. So then the guys confess and they go to jail. And Dr. Cannell from the Vitamin D Research Institute has testified dozens of times to help get Black men out of jail for a nutrient deficiency that has nothing to do with abuse. And the more we're indoors, the less sunshine we get. I have very pale skin. I don't get enough sunshine. If my skin was darker, I would need even a bigger dose, right? So teaching that this very cheap supplement makes for better brains, less risk of diabetes, cancer, all the bad stuff, and that the darker your skin and the more north you live and the more you're indoors, the more you need. This is cheaper than one meal at McDonald's. And just the knowledge is so critical. It's just tell me what to do with very little money or no money to get results.
You should have D and K together, correct?
You should have D. You have to have vitamin K.
Yeah.
Because vitamin K stops the tissues from getting all crusty as you age.
Scrolling won't change your life, but subscribing just might. Tap that button and stay connected to conversations that can't. Gabby, when I think of your just extraordinary work especially in teaching and coaching individuals how to manifest, can you help our listeners? I think when we hear the power of manifesting, people are both inspired and also there's often a lot of misunderstanding. Can you teach us the masterclass? How do we do it? And what are some of those misunderstandings that you could help clear up for us?
Well, I think that manifesting is very much in the zeitgeist right now, and it's quite trendy to sort of manifest. But this idea that this is this trend or this thing that we do is very off base, because manifesting is natural. We manifest who we are. We manifest what we believe. The ability that we all have, the innate ability that we all have to have far more magnitude and impact than we even contemplate, is extraordinary. And I would use Martin Luther King Jr. as the greatest example of manifestation in full form, where there's a movement happening within and a transformation happening within. And then in the expression of that transformation, a movement outside begins to cultivate. And so what is the manifestation of a movement? It's an energetic frequency that ignites more energy. And so those of us who, sort of think that this is something that we have to like practice or tap into, it's quite wrong. It's actually releasing all the blocks and the barriers to the presence of that magnitude that is within all of us. So our work here, particularly those of us who are in this kind of dialogue and those of us who are in the service-oriented mission, anyone listening to this podcast right now has raised their hand in this lifetime and said, I'm showing up. I'm going to serve in some capacity. those of us who are in this conversation have a very big responsibility to elevate our thoughts, our beliefs, and our frequency, because that is how we manifest, not just what we want and not just some job or some relationship, but that's how we manifest change. That's how we manifest change. Those of us, particularly those of us who have the privilege of living in a Western culture and the privilege of being able to have the internet and have a podcast and have dinner on the table and go to your kids' school and pick them up. These are privileges. And those of us who are living with these privileges at this time have a major responsibility to release all the blocks to the presence of that power inside and to use it for good. And to not use it as a magic trick to go attract that Ferrari or that boyfriend or whatever. All the nice things that we attract into our life are always a reflection of the vibrational frequency that we are. But the most important use of that frequency is to be in the service of good. And so the secret to manifesting is to be in the energy of joy. And in that elevated energy of joy, we are guided. We're intuitively shown where to go, what to do, how to show up. And we are directed. And so the ease with which we make these decisions and the ease with, I'm sure you guys have seen this with your nonprofit, that invisible doors open for you, right? That oh wow, that thing just happened. It feels effortless at times. Oh my God, how did this movement created here? Where did this new service oriented thing happen? Why? Because you're in the frequency of service, love, and joy. Period. So the work of manifesting is just to do whatever it takes to get closer to that consciousness. And I remember, years ago I sat with Deepak and I said, I'm doing this spiritual practice and I'm doing this spiritual practice and, where do I go? And he looked at me and goes, do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. Just do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And that's it. And that is the secret. So, for the sake of this new generation of spiritual people that want to, follow these manifesting trends, great. It's a trend. If that is what gets them in the door and helps them start changing and healing, wonderful. But most importantly, true manifesting is being in your highest frequency so that you can enjoy your life, be at the highest elevated state, and then therefore show up and help others wake up at the same time. Period.
And so, Gabby, so the question then is, how do we do that? Because in order to do whatever it takes to be closer to consciousness, as you eloquently said, we also need to be at peace. You inspire millions of people to live their best lives, but also to find and bring peace, especially peace to inner chaos. Give me one or two tips of how do you best do that?
First and foremost is to notice that I'm not in peace. We can't heal what we will not see. So to look at your life and to have those moments like I had on October 2nd in 2005, where we look at our life and we say, is this it? It's got to be better than this. And to be able to witness in those moments and say, I need help. I need a miracle. I choose to see this differently. That is a turning point. Those moments of recognition, I do not want this, opens the door to something new. That's imperative. And then being in a daily humble surrender to a inner wisdom or a higher power of your own understanding, to humbly surrender daily and say, show me what you got, show me where to go, show me what to do. Because even if that doesn't resonate with you, even if you don't have a higher power of your own understanding, you can ask your inner guidance system, your inner wisdom, your higher self, to tune in and ask, what would you have me do today? What miracles would you have me perform today? Because the inquiry, the knowing what we don't want to know that we want something new is imperative. But the inquiry, that's that gentle inquiry daily of, what would you have me do? Actually is sending a signal to the universe. It's opening up an invisible door for you to open up your conscious awareness to maybe press play on a podcast like this, or to maybe watch that video of Tara teaching you how to tune in softly, or to maybe see that book that falls off the shelf and actually read that book. So it's that subtle prayer daily of what would you have me do that opens up your consciousness to receive that good orderly direction, that God, to guide you towards the next right action. And then we have to take the lots of little right actions towards that bigger healing. It's small right actions. It's not rip off the Band-Aid tomorrow. It's lots of little right actions. And so if you stay in that humility of what would you have me do, those little right actions are presented to you. But then you have to show up for them.
When you are searching, when you are struggling, when you are experiencing difficulty, what is one teaching of Rev's that you find is an island of strength for you?
There's a lot. There's a few things that he says that always sort of reverberate in my consciousness. I think first and foremost that there is a divine conspiracy for my success, right? That regardless of what, external circumstances may look like we live in a friendly universe and God has already said, you won. Like that faith of a mustard seed is saying that, like, I see within you who you are already supposed to be, who you are already made to be. And you may be in the process, you don't know where you are in that process of becoming the fullest version of yourself, but God only relates to you as the fullest version of yourself, right? As a complete whole manifestation, a divine, unique emanation of love, beauty, and divine intelligence, if you will. There's so many words that just sort of like, these are all the Rev's words. They just come like, don't be quick to offense. Like that's another one that hits me up every once in a while, where I feel like, oh, should I be offended? And Rev's like, no, you know what? You don't have to be offended. Like I'm jumping around. Let me go back to the divine.
That was good though, man. I might have to have you come preach at agape. You can do it. You can do a testimony.
That conspiracy, like right now, I just have a partial rupture of my Achilles tendon, and I'm laid up, so to speak, for a moment, and in a period of forced rest. But there's also like, in everything, giving thanks, rejoicing always. There is gratitude in this opportunity, and I get a chance to ask myself, God, what do you have in store for me right now? What's next? I can't wait to see what's about to come my way, right? So instead of focusing on the things that would make me feel down or sad or what have you, and believe me, it goes like this to a certain extent, but through that reminding, right, I get a chance to sort of like move up a little bit and not go down, so to speak. So that was a long-winded answer, and I gave you more than one, but that divine conspiracy for my success is something that always comes.
Jay, what would you say, because Radhi has obviously inspired so many people with her books and her, cooking and health. What would be one habit that she inspired, one bad, if you would say, habit that she inspired you to change?
Oh yeah, it would definitely be my sugar intake. and I think this is a really important one for everyone, because I think people just don't understand the dangers of sugar and how much of it we're consuming. And especially in America, where I feel like so much of our food is just naturally filled with it, and how much of our diets have become infiltrated with packaged foods. Most of the things we're eating are not natural whole foods. And so I would say my diet as a whole has been completely reorganized and reshifted through Radhi. And it's actually it's a redefining of taste buds. Like it's not even like, now it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm craving this and I can't have it. It's almost like recognizing that our taste buds are so badly programmed because of what we've been conditioned to eat for so long. And so we think we need it more than we do. So I think I definitely still have a sweet tooth, and I love a chocolate fudge cake if I can get one. But definitely made me much healthier in my diet. And yeah, that would easily be the biggest one.
Radhi, if someone wanted to change their overall wellness and energy, what one or two things could they do?
Honestly, I'd say in this day and age, one of the biggest things to change is, I always think of the 80-20 rule, but in this case, I mean like 80% of the food not coming from a packet and 20% of the food coming from a packet. Like if you can make sure that the balance is that way, because for a lot of people, the balance is actually the other way. It's 80% coming from a packet and 20% coming from whole foods. And so I think that is causing a lot of the rise in a lot of health issues. So that's one. And I think the second thing would be, I've noticed that the fall in the amount of people that want to cook at home. And most of us are eating foods from restaurants or takeaways. And actually, we don't know the oils that people are using. We don't know the ingredients. We are really unaware of the consciousness that people are cooking it with. And so And the second part to that would be try and cook more meals at home. Like connect to your food, understand what's going into it, and like read the labels, start to educate yourself. You know, I think we've put so much of our health into other people's hands. And I think it's really difficult nowadays because there is way too much information online. Everybody's telling you should or shouldn't eat this. But in Ayurveda, I just learned how important it is to start to listen to your body. Most of us are so disconnected to our body that we don't even notice when we're having digestive issues. We don't realize that when I'm eating this, it's actually causing joint pain. When I'm eating this, it's making me feel lethargic and not energized. Like, the bottom line is anything that we eat or drink, it should be creating vitality, energy, and lightness in the body. Like, you should feel like you can still get up and do things. As soon as you're eating foods and it's making you lethargic, it's making you feel heavy, and it's draining energy from you, that's a sign that the food that you're eating may just not be right for you. And so the third part of that would be education. Don't leave it to other people to tell you what you should be doing for your body. Start to learn. And the best way of doing that to start off with is start listening. When I'm eating this, how am I feeling? When I'm eating this, how is my digestion? How is my mind? Am I feeling focused and clear, or am I feeling foggy? You know, there are such simple questions we can ask ourselves to really start to tune into the ins and outs of what we're eating and how it's affecting us. So I would say less packaged foods, cooking more meals at home, and educating yourself, because your health is in your hands. It shouldn't be in someone else's hands.
Jay, over the years, you've interviewed some of the most remarkable people in the world and gained their insight and wisdom on issues about happiness and living a fulfilled life. I'd like to ask you if there's one or two things from one of your guests or multiple guests that have really impacted your thinking in those areas.
When I think about my guests, I definitely think about a lot of the incredible experts we've had on sleep. And the reason I bring up sleep is because I think it's the one habit that incredibly impacts every other habit. When you get a good night's sleep, you're less likely to eat foods that are bad for you. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to have the energy to work out. You're going to feel more motivated and focused at work. It's the domino effect. And what I've learned about sleep is that a lot of us are not trying to build up our sleep like we build up other parts of our life. We want to gain mastery at our careers. We want to get good at our relationships. But so much of that is based on the quality of our sleep. If you have slept well, you're less irritable. You're less agitated. You're less likely to get angry or frustrated when something doesn't go your way, because you have that foundational calm. And so for me, the things I've learned about sleep, the first is set a bedtime routine. Try and sleep at the same time every single day. Mm-hmm. Again, at least 5 days a week. Second is try and sleep in what's known as cave-like darkness. A lot of us today have flashing lights from TVs, from remote controls, from our phones, whatever it may be. Try and sleep in cave-like darkness as best as you can. Try and sleep in a temperature that's 63 to 68, 69 Fahrenheit. That's the recommended temperature. Slightly cooler. We actually sleep better when it's a little bit cooler than what we think. And the last one is have a bedtime routine. You know, eat a few hours before you get before you're going to go to bed. Stop looking at your phone an hour before bed. Really create that energy to be able to switch off. And so sleep has been something I've focused on with a lot of my amazing guests, and the fulfillment and sleep can give so much fulfillment and peace in life. I think it would change so much of our day.
We'll be back with all new episodes next Tuesday with bonus drops every Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a moment.